about not the Madueke. Yes, I'm not going to say I'm impressed. I'm happy with what he has done so far, but there is still work to be done as long as Madueke is concerned. I'm very happy Saka is back now. If he's fit and Arsenal manages to start to score goals and win games, then it gives Madueke time to do, get himself ready for the other side of the game. He knows how to take on players. He can take on any player.
Watch Stretch TV right now.
What you see is what you get. Arsenal won, City won. Arteta, I don't know, would I say, caused a lot of issues for himself with the fans and the footballing world around the globe with his lineup this morning. For us who are here in the US, by starting Mikel Merino in the midfield again with Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. And that game ended 1-1. You could see that City had no confidence coming into this game. The way they played on the back foot. They played on the counter, played low block. At the point, City had almost 7 or 8 defensive players on the pitch. Stats showed at some point that they were operating 31% possession in that game. But Arsenal still lacked that push or that, I don't know how to put it. So let me ask you guys, Ubuma, as an Arsenal fan, what did you make of that lineup and how this game panned out?
Well, I was a little disturbed by the lineup when I saw it. And the disturbance was in adding Merino to the midfield instead of adding a more offensive player. Now, Merino, I would say, is more of an offensive player than he's given credit for. But he's not a creative player. He's a good offensive player, right? And so Arsenal needed a creative player to really complement Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. And so that ended up really being a problem in that first half. And I thought the manager, who I'm a big fan of and a big backer of, I thought he was pretty much he went to the market and bought what Igbos and people call koboko, to be used to flog himself, right? So you don't go and incapacitate yourself or handicap yourself when you're trying to get something done. So that was a bad mistake starting the lineup he started with. He tried to recover in the second half, I mean. Fortunately for him, they were able to draw, but that game shouldn't have been a draw in the first place.
Yeah, Jude, let me ask you real quick. I have a problem with the way Arsenal plays. I've been saying this now for 2 seasons. There's one aspect of their game that I don't like, and this is when Arsenal look like they are very obsessed to camp opponents in front of their own 18-yard box and be passing these balls around. And most of the time when you do that, there's no space for the midfielders to create for the strikers. It's always going to be pass here, pass until maybe somebody somehow does something brilliant individually and a goal comes out or a mistake by the defenders. And Arsenal goal today came when they were able to, when City attack them and there was a space, there was gap between the defensive line and the goalkeeper. How does Arsenal solve this? How can Arteta solve it? Because this is one thing I know very well that Ferguson used to do. He used to make opponents make the pitch as big as possible. So there will be spaces for people to run into. There will be a few times that happened and we saw Bucharest try to run onto those balls until eventually Eze did what he did and created that chance for Martinelli. I don't know why you see it and what you think Arteta needs to do to kind of reduce this obsession to camping opponents in their own 18-yard box.
Anyway, I think Arteta, I won't really hold Arteta, of any grudge during this game today because first thing, it was a game that was, both coaches approached with a lot of caution. And Arsenal selection, my only problem with that selection was, I was screaming, why is Martinelli not in this game? Because for me, I knew Martinelli was needed, to counter some of those runs, especially the ones Doku was making, right? So, like I said, it was a game where City was very cautious and relied on, a few counters, which paid off in the early stages of the game, for them, and they scored. So what Arteta has done with the introduction of or the players that he has bought players that have some mixed talent. The Marinos, the Zubemendis, and there are not much difference like Declan Rice and the rest of them. So what he wants is players who are kind of utility. He has a lot of them now in that midfield, department. They can go forward, they can comfortably return back. So that gives him a lot of for me, that gives him a lot of
Leverage.
leverage, a lot of confidence, that he's not going to lose a lot of players up front. So many of them will be behind the ball as well. And so that's the mentality I feel that he has.
Okay,
And
so no, on that point, before I go to man like Ife, let me ask you, and I want to ask this question as well. Now you have a set of defensive players who are good in defending, who love to defend. You have Timber, you have Saliba, you have Gabriel, you have Moscara, and Califiori, even in Cafe that came in. These guys can defend and they love to defend. He has to be made, he had Declan Rice. Why do you want to put the burden of defending on your front players? Yes, they should be disciplined, but they should be released to do their attacking duties, to try to get goal and play on a front foot. This is the difference between Arsenal and Liverpool. Liverpool, the front players try to play in front, while the defensive players do their job. Then when the team, if you're leading a game 1-0, it's okay. You have to defend this lead. That's different from day one. Almost everybody is obsessed with defending.
well, the two managers can't be the same.
Yeah.
They can't be the same. And what he's doing, if what you're doing works for you, then why don't you
Keep doing it.
keep doing it? My only problem for Arsenal is that some of these purchases that he has made now, he would have made them like 2 seasons ago. We can see the challenges he's having with Odegaard and Saka recently with injuries, in and out of injuries. And this is because these players have burnt out three consecutive years of top flight football, coming second. It's not easy to be playing at that level, and you're just coming short always, mentally, physically. Something is being burnt off of those players, and he's still somehow lucky that he still has them, because any other bigger team would have come for those players,
Yeah, if
and
it was
probably
years back,
yes,
Arsenal would have lost them by now. Yeah, for
you,
sure.
so it has a negative impact on the team totally, because I know that if Odegaard and Saka were in those games today and they are fully fit, it would have been a different outcome.
Yeah,
Because on
definitely.
that
Yeah, because
side,
City were there for the taking today.
yeah,
They
it would
were.
have been a different outcome. So, but that creativity wasn't there in the middle as we will have it, until maybe late when Eze had to factor something out, from nowhere. I wasn't expecting much from him, but again, he did something. So, but
Okay.
in the first half
My
as well, it
So,
was.
so, so man like Ife, last season, Arsenal went to Etihad, and that game ended, I think it was a 2-2, and people were on Arteta that he should have gone on the front foot. Why did he go there? He showed City the City was at the worst time and all that. Today we see City come uh, to Emirates, and from day one, it was very clear that City we had no intention to match Arsenal, all around the pitch. They were trying to play on the counter on a low block. I don't know. What did you make of that? Should we now also question Pep for doing that, or is it that he was aware of where these two teams were coming into this game and didn't want to expose his players to? to the danger of the way Arsenal is right now in terms of quality.
But I totally disagree. No, nobody, especially in sports, goes into a team thinking they cannot win. The mindset would always be we can win the game, regardless of who the opposition is. And their City, their top club. I think what it is would be the matchups, the like-for-like players, and the strengths and weaknesses. Maybe Pep was looking at it like if they go down, it may be difficult to come back into the game. Yeah. And maybe Arteta was looking at it like, okay, probably we need to overcompensate in the mid so that our wide players and attackers can give us that depth we want. But like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So when you look at how that game panned out, it was interesting that City took the lead. And here's why I said it was interesting that City took the lead. I think Arsenal have a better squad than City on paper. I think like for like players, Arsenal edges City. But here's the thing. It's one thing to edge a team, and it's another thing for your manager or the gaffer to put those players that he needs to either give him the desired results. Now, I don't have anything against Moreno, nor do I have anything against Trossard. But I feel in that lineup, them two were not supposed to start. You know, Eze could have comfortably played there, and Martinelli could have also played on the other side. Yeah. They always look like a genius when they bring them on during halftime or wherever, and they kind of score. But when you look at it, they ended up salvaging a point. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you want me to repeat what I'm saying? They ended up salvaging a point, which is shocking because your gaffer chose the wrong players for the job. There is no reason why Saka shouldn't have started. If he's fit to be on the bench, like Roy Keane always says, if he's fit to make the match list, to make the program notes, I don't see no reason why he should not be started. No, I don't have no problem against Madueke. I'm not trying to rubbish Madueke. He was okay. But if you notice when Saka and Eze came in, they ended up overwhelming that midfield and pushing City defensive. It got that bad that Pep had to haul off Doku and Haaland, which I thought was a big mistake on his part too. So we can always agree to disagree and pinpoint where we see where the faults are. But at the end of the day, the end justifies the means. So fair play to both of them.
I think Pep needs to be questioned as well. Today, just first of all, the way they set up, City had 31% possession today in this game. This is the lowest they have been since he's been in City. And obviously, the substitutions as well. I don't know if he thought that the game was 75 minutes game because at 70th minute, he yanked off all his front players with one goal lead. I don't know what.
Yes, that was really horrible.
And if it was a Stoke or even an Arsenal that did that, you can understand. These players are not wired mentally to play like this. So for you to give them that kind of torture for 20 minutes, I always knew that if Arsenal were serious.
It's not even that. There was one time, Doku, after he hauled off Haaland, Doku took two of those Arsenal left back, but there was nobody in the box, and he squared the ball. When he squared the ball, Haaland would be there to tap in, and who knows? That would have been like 2-0, game done. It's a wrap. But Haaland wasn't there. I was pissed. I was mad pissed when I saw that. I was like, that was a horrible
let me
thing.
ask you before we round up on this one. Last week we had a kind of conversation, argument, ask you guys a question a fully fit Saliba coming back from this injury, would you play him or you play Mosquera? Looking at Saliba today, do you think maybe that's another area at the time probably took a little bit of gamble? It looked did Saliba, do what was expected of him today? Ugum?
Saliba versus Mosquera. Well, on second thought, actually last night when I was going over this question, pondering, especially when you asked me if it's Saka, will I bring in Saka versus Madueke, which is just about the same scenario per se. I said Noni, but thinking about it, Saka, if he played Saka start from the start, it would have been okay. Noni did okay as well. I think the decision to play start Saliba is justified. I thought he played okay, played very well. And it was justified. It's just that offensive end that we really struggled in the first half.
Yeah, I'm talking about Noni Madueke. Yes, I'm not going to say I'm impressed. I'm happy with what he has done so far, but there is still work to be done as long as Madueke is concerned. I'm very happy Saka is back now. If he's fit and Arsenal manages to start to score goals and win games, then it gives Madueke time to do, get himself ready for the other side of the game. He knows how to take on players. He can take on any player. But the end product, this is one thing I've been saying about Doku for a long time. And the reason is because these players don't really look up. They put their head down, try to go past players. You have to think about if you're going to make a cross, if you're going to score a goal. Madiga still hasn't scored any goal for Arsenal. Nor has he created anyone. Apart from that, I think it was an own goal. And all these things counts. And if you go and check the stats, I'm sure he might have the highest number of take-ons in the league so far, because he almost finished Kakers against Liverpool. He did against Nottingham Forest. Today again he did it. So he on that department he's doing good, but he's now the emperor. I don't know if it's something that he's going to have to develop or the team needs to help him in doing that. I don't know what you guys think. Jude, you haven't said anything on this one before we round up.
No, I don't think I need to say anything. You have said what I said the last time. I think that was when I made this comment that, Madueke has no end product. He needs to improve on his game. I said that before. He needs to improve on his game. And improvement on his game is, making those his dribblings and runs, make it count.
Make it count.
And not just, and he has to be aware of his environment as quickly as possible. If he can do those little bits, it's just little details that he needs to add to his game, and he'll become very, very dangerous. Yeah, that's what I think.
Guys, for us to round up, looking at the table again today, we had two games. Just addendum to this video before we go. Aston Villa drew against Sunderland away from home. Newcastle drew against Bournemouth as well. And these two teams, as we speak, Newcastle are 13th on the table. Aston Villa is 18th, relegation zone, 3 points. Unai Emery had so many transfers in that team the last 2 seasons plus. Now that he's been there, Newcastle are supposed to be one of the teams that should be giving Arsenal, City, and Liverpool a run for their money in the top end of the team of the league. But somehow, both of them are struggling. Ascote, I don't know, Ugum, what's the issue with Unai Emery and Eddie Howe?
I think it's about it. Eddie Howe, I would say, he fashioned this team to play through Alexander Isak. There needs to be some adjustments.
Let's not go there. This Saturday, even when Isak was there last season, forgot about they won the Carling Cup. Even in the league, they struggled. They barely made it to the top 4, top 5. At the point, they lost 2 or 3 games. The gap between them and Arsenal and Liverpool blew up to 10 or 15 points before they tried to claw back. So I think he has always been there before even Isak. Isak was the one that was keeping them competitive, kind of.
So Unai Emery, that one also, I don't know how to classify. Unai seems to be a coach that doesn't last the distance. It seems to be more of a tournament, more of a cup coach than a league coach. Keeping the team at the highest level, integrating different and then bringing in so many players, different players, hoping to, if this person doesn't work, that person will work. It seems to be the way he operates. He doesn't zero in on certain players and get the best out of them. And so I think that's part of the issue he has. But I'll credit him with improving the likes of Ezri Konsa, and what's his name at the back also. The defense is pretty good. They're working really hard, bringing out the best from Matthew Cash and the rest of them. It's just lasting the distance that's the problem for Unai. And with the way things are going, I'm not sure that he's going to last through the first part of the season with Villa. Yeah, I think that Villa.
Yeah, Jude, Aston Villa scores their first goal of the season today. First goal after 5 games of the season today. And like I said, Newcastle are struggling as well, 13th on the table as we speak. I don't know what you've made of these two teams this season so far.
Well, for those, for Newcastle, Newcastle needs to, rediscover themselves, with the movements out of the club. Some key squad members that have moved out. So the coach needs to, bring the squad together as quickly as possible. And I'm not sure he should have any difficulty, doing that. It's just 5 games of the season, and for where his team is ranked, he can do the turnaround and still, get back to a decent level on the table. Same as Aston Villa. Aston Villa, I can't figure out what their problem is. It's been a bad start to the season, and I said it when I saw the fixtures, the Premier League fixtures for the season, and I said that after the first 5 games, you can easily determine how the season is going to go. Some people might say it's just 5 games, but you can easily start seeing the table for what it's going to look like through the majority of the season. So for those teams, below on the table, they still have they have a lot of chance, a lot of games to play to turn things around. The teams at the top, especially the ones in the Champions League, they are going to a couple of them
they are
going to get tired. So because of the way the Champions League is now, so they're really going to get battered. Fatigue will set in for a lot of them, because we have seen also that through between last season and this season, a lot of these players have not had a very good rest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to impact them, seriously in this season.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. It's always good to have you guys on the show. Viewers, don't forget to let us know what you think about this, what we've talked about, and like and share. Let's continue to grow this community. Ascote, it's good to have you back, bro. I wish you can have time to join us every week or more often than not. Man like Ubum, as usual, always here supporting and giving your views. I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and the season is fresh, but like Judy is saying, it's already taking shape as well. If you don't meet up, you'll probably be left behind. Like I said, Aston Villa is rooted in 18th position, 3 points so far this season. That's not looking good at all. And hopefully Unai Emery will survive this one and turn things around. And so we saw you this weekend, and we'll go again next weekend. I'll see you guys. Ciao.
Yeah, cheers, mate.